Hello everyone, I am Marco Ruggiero and today I'm not going to talk about Bravo, even though fermented foods remain an essential part of a healthy diet. Instead, I would like to share with you a study I carried out more than 40 years ago when I was a young researcher and which has become more relevant now than ever. In 1981, together with Professor Carlo Nicastro, I published a paper on the food situation in tropical countries. At that time, roughly half the world's population was undernourished. In many tropical regions, child mortality linked to malnutrition was extremely high. People were living mainly on cereals and starchy foods that did not provide enough high-quality protein. We tried to understand why agricultural production remained so low in places that often had abundant sunlight and, in theory, good growing conditions. We used a simple idea that still helps us today. We distinguish between two kinds of energy that plants need. Primary energy is what nature provides for free: sunlight, temperature, and rainfall. Secondary energy is what human beings add: irrigation, fertilizers, and machinery. In tropical countries, primary energy was often plentiful, but secondary energy was scarce and expensive. Without enough of these human inputs, farms stayed low yielding. We also warned that slash and burn practices were damaging the soil, and that traditional local crop varieties were being replaced by a small number of high-yielding ones, creating long-term risks. 45 years later, some things have clearly improved. The percentage of world's population suffering from chronic hunger has fallen dramatically, from about half in the early 1980s to under 8% today. Child mortality also has decreased substantially thanks to better health care and nutrition programs. We now have better tools, crop varieties that tolerate drought and heat, improved storage methods that reduce post-harvest losses, and even precision agriculture and artificial intelligence that can help manage water and fertilizer more efficiently. Yet, other problems have become more difficult. The absolute number of hungry people in Africa has continued to rise because the population has grown so rapidly. Africa now has more undernourished people than any other continent. Climate change has made primary energy less reliable. Higher temperatures and irregular rainfall are undoing some of the gains we achieved with better secondary energy inputs. The cost of fertilizers, fuel, and machinery has become more volatile because of global political and economic shocks. At the same time, many small farmers still cannot access new digital tools because they lack electricity, internet, or training. A modern version of the old problem that technology was simply too expensive. Two deeper issues we pointed out in 1981 have also grown more serious. Land degradation continues, and the loss of crop diversity has increased the risk that a single disease or extreme weather event could cause widespread damage. Over the decades, trillions of dollars have been spent on the development aid and agricultural programs, yet the basic structural constraints remain largely in place. What has stayed essentially the same is the core diagnosis. Diets in many tropical regions are still heavily based on cereals that do not supply complete proteins, so hidden hunger, that is, the deficiencies of vitamins and essential amino acids, still continues. Secondary energy inputs are still used far less than they should be in the places that need them most. And without reliable access to those inputs and without protecting the natural base of soil and climate, any progress remains fragile. The key lesson is this: having more technology or more money is not enough. What matters is whether people can actually use those resources when the weather turns against them. Two farming systems can have similar amounts of fertilizers or irrigation equipment, yet one may still collapse under stress while the other adapts. The difference lies in accessibility and resilience, the ability to keep responding when primary energy becomes unstable. I share this today with you because it shows that serious work on nutrition and food systems is not something improvised. It comes from decades of research, observation, and continuous comparison between what we knew then and what we see now. Seen in this context, I can say that Bravo is the result of more than 40 years of research in the field of nutrition. The questions we asked in 1981 are still with us. The challenge is no longer just to increase production. It is to build systems that remain workable under real climatic and economic pressure. Systems that give ordinary farmers fair and reliable access to the tools they need, protect the soil and the genetic diversity of crops, and turn knowledge into lasting practice. That is the real work still ahead. I thank you for your time and attention, and as usual, I remain at your service for any further information I may be able to provide. Just send us an email.